Who would like to start reading for us? Yeah.
Just as we are compelled by the Athanasian Creed to acknowledge each distinct person as God and Lord, so also we are prohibited by the Catholic religion to say that there are three gods or lords. The Father is not made nor created nor begotten by anyone. The Son is neither made nor created but begotten of the Father alone. The Holy Spirit is of the Father and of the Son, neither made nor created nor begotten but proceeding. Thus there is one Father, not three fathers, one Son, not three sons, one Holy Spirit, not three Holy Spirits. And in this Trinity, none is before or after another, none is greater or less than another.
Whereas the rational soul, flesh is and soul, God is the hand of God. Who suffered for our salvation, descended into the hell, risen in the third day, ascended into heaven, and seated at the right hand of the Father, with whence he will have the presence of heaven. Everything, all people, rise again, the body of the account, concerning the beings. Those who have been through the flesh, eternal life, those who have been able to be the Father. This is the Catholic faith. Whoever is not believe, faithfully, firmly, and I will say.
All right. Anyone want to make a motion that we say this every Sunday? No one? Any questions on what you just read?
a little inkling that, people didn't understand there were three gods but one God. And they were individual because, boy, I mean, this leaves absolutely no doubt, at least in my mind, there is no doubt of how it is.
It was more than an inkling.
Okay.
In fact, this creed and the Nicene Creed were written specifically to counter heresies that had entered the Christian church. I almost said Catholic. Why did I almost say Catholic?
It says it. It says it.
Yeah, what does Catholic mean?
Universal.
So, what we by shorthand call Catholics is actually a misnomer. We call them Catholics because they are technically called the Roman Catholic Church. They adopted the name Catholic for themselves. The word Catholic means universal. And because they have adopted that for themselves, it has come to mean a specific sect in Christianity. That is not what's being discussed here. As you guys are well aware, I get annoyed when words are used the wrong way. In this case, Catholic is being abused by them. Much like not all facial tissues are Kleenexes, not all Catholic is RCC, Roman Catholic Church. Therefore, the term Catholic, which is written with a small c, means universal. The term Catholic, written with a large C, almost always refers back to the Roman Catholic Church.
I have a question though. You know, I know that other places we have, revised things, for example, Ten Commandments. When I grew up, there was a catechism that was, thou shalt not kill. And when we changed it to murder, that was much better.
And much clearer,
Yeah.
and the way it ought to be, because that's what the Hebrew word means. So why not change this from Catholic to universal?
Right.
Take it up with the editors of Concordia Publishing House, their Missouri Synod people, and I suspect that they kept the word Catholic in here because there is an element of the Missouri Synod that is nearly Catholic. To put it the way one of the pastors at Zeke's school put it, when I was interrogating them as to their beliefs, because that's something I did before sending them to a Missouri Synod school, he smiled, shook his head, and said, yes, most of our people will sound a lot like you. And to that end, I think it's worth noting that the new pastor over at Christ in Juniata is considering using the catechism book I'm teaching out of to teach his catechism classes. So if you're wondering if we're pretty much on the same page, that's pretty close. At any rate, yeah, most of our guys will sound a lot like you. We do have some who would be happier in the ELCA, we do have some who would be happier in the Roman Catholic Church. But we're not those ones. And in order to placate the really loud minority of people, the pastors in the LCMS, who would be happier in the Roman Catholic Church, I suspect they didn't change this from Catholic to universal, because the pastor who thinks like I do can teach his Bible class that it means universal. You understand? What is our, I suspect our hymnal, we say the Athanasian Creed once a year. Here it is. Hold to the true Christian faith. Now this is the true Christian faith, which I think is a much clearer way of explaining it, don't you? I think we do this better than them, but since I'm pulling all this out of the same book and it's published by the LCMS, there will occasionally be times like this. Feel free to bring them up. I don't have an issue criticizing what needs to be criticized. And you're right, Nancy, that deserves to be criticized.
Well, I don't know that I, where to put that out, but I just, me and wondering about things sometimes.
It's a worthy question to bring up. It's something I was going to talk about. So I appreciate you
Stole your
bringing it up.
thunder.
Well, you see, here's the thing. You guys have gotten to know me pretty well. So, like, Rachel has cut minutes off my sermons before. No, that's not a complaint. I'll tease you about it, but it's not a complaint. I am really glad when the exposition of my sermons doesn't need to go on much longer, because those are in there to educate people. And if I'm already telling everybody things they already know, I can skip it and move on to the next part.
Yeah, me in the congregation too, you have to explain.
But if Rachel can explain it in 2 sentences, then we're done. You've done it before. Don't think I don't remember. I think you remember too. It was like 3 weeks ago, maybe 2.
Well,
She's hard enough to get along with it.
Okay.
yeah, don't add arrogance to it.
I will praise when praise is deserved, but when criticism is necessary, it's coming. All right. Anything else to talk about? Well, we were looking at this, other than, wow, that this covers everything completely. Jesus was in, yeah, he's a man who was able to be perfect unto himself, and therefore isn't so much a savior as an example.
So their speculation was Jesus was only man and he was perfect. So we as human beings should follow his lead and be absolutely perfect too.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, don't get too surprised. You ever wonder why Methodists are called Methodists? The method of becoming perfect. John Wesley himself. John Wesley, who is not a Methodist as we know Methodists today, but gave his name to the church because he proclaimed a method for achieving perfection, which is a little different than the Arian heresy that was refuted by the Athanasian Creed. When we get into the confessions, things get deep in a real hurry. This is going to be fun. I was talking to the woman who hosts the catechism class I teach up at Broken Bow, because it's her granddaughter taking the class, looked at me the other day and said, "Never heard of Adiaphora before." And I smiled because in October I will be presenting a paper on Adiaphora to the conference, to our pastor's conference, which will be somewhere that isn't here, so don't worry about it. Adiaphora. And I smiled and said, "You haven't read your confessions lately." she looked at me and said, what? By the end of the night, she had ordered a book on the Lutheran confessions off the internet. This is important stuff, but it is real deep waters to start us with. So don't expect us to be moving real fast. Not as fast as Delcy would like. Okay, anything else? All right. So what's immediately obvious about the Athanasian Creed? I think we've covered that. Why do you suppose this was? Because of the Arian heresy. Wow. I need to add in my question list more. That question confusing. Okay. Is there anything in that first column that is confusing? Ignore the why would a. I'm not sure why that's in there. Mondays are long and busy days. Sometimes I make mistakes. That's all I have to do. Those should be getting shorter soon, though. I should be confirming that girl on the 19th. If there's nothing in the first column that's confusing, that's an acceptable answer too. Or are you just too shy to admit you're confused by something? Yeah, it's not so much confusing as it is dense. Okay, so what's the point of the first column? To establish the Trinity, what does that mean? There are those who argue that Christians are polytheists. There are those that argue for Christians being polytheists. That, you know what polytheism is? Yeah. This is written to explain how we are monotheists with more than one person in the Godhead. How that works, I can't tell you. No one can. If anyone tries to, they're lying. Ignore them. I can think of allegories, I can think of ways to illustrate it that make sense, but if you push them too far, it won't work. I think my favorite is the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. 3 distinct flavors of that, right? Eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you taste the bread, you taste the peanut butter, you taste the jelly, right? Ever try to take apart a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? They're all mixed together, right? It's one sandwich with 3 parts. Now, don't push that too far. I will admit that there are things that fall apart if you start pushing it too hard, but it's sort of a way to conceptualize it that I think works, at least for me. All right. So in the second column, up to the word therefore, which is about 60% of the way down the second column, what separate but equally important point is being made? Yeah, each person is distinct from each other in different ways. But there are not three gods. They are just distinct people within the one God. There's a reason I like to tell people Trinity Sunday sermon should either be 2 hours or 5 minutes long. Because if you really want to break it down, you'll be here for hours. If you only want to say what can be said briefly, but without saying too much, you got about 5 minutes. I tried for the first one, my first Trinity Sunday. It was unbelievable. Longest sermon I ever preached. Oh, the mother's an excellent thing. So why is it necessary to believe that Christ is fully human?
Because he had to be a human to die on the cross. I'm gonna keep asking hard for them.
He had to be human to die on the cross. God can't die. Very good.
Exactly. Between the two of you, you stumbled on exact, because he had to be in danger of sinning. God can't be tempted. God cannot be tempted. And Jesus had to be tempted just like us in every way, yet be without sin. And then he had to die to take away our sins. Confirmation class is going to be here this week. Maybe he will be. I'm more than happy to be quiet and let the kids teach each other if that's possible. All right.
God really had a good idea, didn't he? And, if it just remains two spirits, that's what we say, God is a spirit, Jesus is a spirit, God is spirit, is a spirit. If it extended that level, God on send the sun down here. It would be, that's how you can not take him.
It would also mean we would have our Sunday mornings free. So there's one part in here that might be a little bit difficult to understand. That part that says equal to the Father as to his divinity, less than the Father as to his humanity. What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, I have a book about 3 inches thick on my table at home. The book is called The Two Natures of God. And it goes on to explain exactly what we believe and what we teach regarding Jesus' attributes, how they communicate with each other, things like that. The book is so dense, I have since October made it through 100 pages. And to be entirely honest, I set it aside for a while, partially to prepare for the paper, partially because reading more than 3 pages makes my head hurt. This simple clause, equal to the Father, less than the Father, has caused more ink to be spilled than perhaps anything else regarding Christ. And it took one of the most gifted men the Lutheran Church has ever had, Martin Chemnitz, the second one, without whom the first Martin would be lost, according to Lutheran historians, to write the authoritative treatise on this, which in English is well over 500 pages long. And for someone like me, this is my work, this is my life, this is what I've spent my entire life doing, makes my head hurt.
I have a question, is, the name you just mentioned, how, does anybody know how long it took you to get that?
A long time? Specifically, I don't know. I could figure it out for you, but
You don't need to, but I just, I understand.
what I think it's fairly well established when he sat down to start writing and when he published, but it took a lot. Martin Chemnitz is probably the most important person you've never heard of. Martin Chemnitz. Chemnitz. If it wasn't for him, Lutheranism most likely would have been lost into either Calvinism or Catholicism. He wrote a lot of things. The Two Natures of Christ, an examination of the Council of Trent, points on doctrine, the formula of Concord, which we will be studying, he wrote. So,
How long after Luther was he lived?
I believe the formula of Concord was published 1580, so about 40 or so years after Luther died. In that time, there had been a war, there had been Philip Melanchthon turning coward. When you read through Luther's Legal Thoughts, you'll see Melanchthon kind of things. The problem with Melanchthon is, it appears his spine suffered from Athanasian cardiomyopathy. Yes. What's more commonly known as broken heart disease. You know, old married couple, the husband goes, the wife goes 20 minutes later, that sort of thing. That's called Athanasian cardiomyopathy. Because there is no evidence of Philip Melanchthon's spine existing after Luther dies. To say it never existed would be uncharitable and wrong. The man was one of the leading lights of the Reformation. To say it died when Luther died would be accurate, and well, there's more to be said that I yelled at his house when I was in Wittenberg once. Were you there when I walked through it? Because I argued with Flax. Yeah, people took me to them for my 33rd birthday, and I spent my time touring the Blanton House yelling at everybody. Yeah. I was by myself, I looked insane, but I was insane alone, so. There's a Best Western right next to Luther's house. If you go out on the patio, you go look right at Luther's house. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, Jesus was equal to the Father because he was God. He was less than the Father and therefore subject to the Father because he was man. No one knows the day or hour. Not the angels in heaven, not even the Son, but only the Father. That was only true as regards to Jesus' humanity. Currently, he knows when he's coming back. But because he had laid aside his divinity, he did not know the time he would be returning while he was here on earth. Right? Can you see why there's an incredibly dense book on this? It's a wonderful book. It contains multitudes that is worth studying. But it makes my head hurt. All right. The last question might be a bit of a layup. What does it mean that someone has done good? What is good is what is godly, and what is godly is to believe. I only bring that you guys probably understood that immediately upon reading it, right? I had spent a long time in Bible class discussing exactly that point, so I wanted to make sure I left it completely and totally clear before moving on. Any questions on anything we've covered? Okay, stay where you are. Hey, Dave.